so think about this. In a world that feels so perfectly curated, almost polished, how easy is it, really, to just be yourself?
That's a tough one.
Like, can any of us actually say we're, 100% authentic all the time?
Probably not, no.
And maybe the hardest part is, what if you don't even know who that real you is anymore, underneath all the layers?
Those are huge questions, and they're right at the heart of what we're diving into today.
Okay.
We're looking at a review of a film called Peacock. It was written by Mary Munoz for Moviescramble.
Ah, Peacock. And the review suggests this film tackles exactly those themes, right? Identity, authenticity.
Exactly, but it does it through black comedy.
Interesting. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack that review. Let's pull out what Mary Munoz saw as the key insights, the themes, characters, the whole tone. What makes this film tick, according to her?
Sounds good. So right away, the review sets up the premise. Peacock is the first feature film from writer-director Bernhard Wenger, and it stars Albrecht Schuch as this guy, Matthias. Now, Matthias works for a company called My Companion.
My Companion. What do they do?
Well, his job is basically he gets hired out to play different roles for clients.
Hired out. Wow. Okay, and the review connects this job, this constant performing, to a kind of identity crisis for him.
Precisely. Mary Munoz draws a direct line from Matthias's struggle to, the pressures we all kind of feel in the modern world.
Right. Let's dig into that job then, because it sounds like the absolute core of the film.
It really is. So Matthias gets hired for all sorts of reasons, often. Well, pretty strange ones.
Like what?
The review lists things like needing him to argue with a client's husband.
Seriously. Okay. What else?
Or pretending to be half of a loving couple just so they can secure an apartment.
Wow.
Or being someone's date to the opera, even delivering a big birthday speech as if he's the loving son.
Man, he has to be a total chameleon.
Exactly. Whatever the client needs.
And Mary Munoz says the shape-shifting, it starts to mess with him. He loses himself.
Yeah, that's the crux of it. Even his girlfriend, Sophie, notices. She says that line, the review quotes, "You don't seem real anymore."
Oof. That's harsh.
And then she follows it with, "I can't feel the real you." The reviewer really highlights that. It cuts deep, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows it's not just internal, it's affecting his actual relationships.
Absolutely.
So the review mentions the film uses visuals and sound quite cleverly to emphasize this.
Oh, definitely. Take Matthias's apartment, for example.
Okay.
Described as picture perfect, but completely sterile, like zero personality.
Huh. And wasn't there something about his wardrobe?
Yes. Mary Munoz points out this detail. His walk-in wardrobe is just full of identical cardboard suit bags and shoe boxes.
Wow.
She calls it the world's saddest theater dressing room.
That's such a vivid image. Really says something, doesn't it? A life based on performance, even his private space is like backstage.
Exactly. And then you've got the contrast with Vienna itself.
Right, the setting, pastel colors, historic buildings.
Beautiful, yeah. But his own space feels totally artificial against that backdrop.
And how he's framed. The review mentioned that too.
It did. Apparently, Wenger often frames Matthias beautifully in these opulent settings, almost like he's a piece of art himself. But as Munoz points out, if you look closer, he's just staring off into space, questioning everything, while this gorgeous world carries on around him.
So the visuals mirror his internal state, that disconnect.
Perfectly. Even the sound design contributes.
So?
The review mentions elevator music pops up in several scenes.
The ultimate inoffensive sound.
Exactly. Described as inoffensive and unimposing, which, mirrors Matthias trying to blend in, be adaptable for his job.
That makes sense, like a bland surface.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the peacock itself, the title symbol.
Right. What about it?
Well, visually stunning, obviously. Beautiful bird.
Sure.
But its actual sound, its squawk, the review calls it an ungainly cry for help. Oh. And Munoz presents that as the perfect metaphor for Matthias. Beautiful surface, but underneath there's this awkward, painful struggle.
That's a really layered metaphor.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this character, these strong visuals and sounds, and the genre. Mary Munoz calls it a black comedy cringe fest.
Yeah, that phrase definitely catches your attention.
Cringe fest.
It sets the tone immediately. She compares it to Ernst Aguirre's The Hypnosis in that sense.
So it's designed to make you feel uncomfortable, make you squirm.
Pretty much, yeah, to make you squirm in their seat.
And Matthias's life, according to the review, is just one excruciating incident after the other.
It sounds like it. It creates this weird pull, right? Like you feel you should look away.
Like watching a car crash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The review uses that phrase, this car crash that is unfolding, but you feel compelled to watch anyway.
Okay, give us some examples from the review, the really awkward stuff.
Right. Well, there are apparently two different scenes involving breakups or rejections.
Always fun.
Yeah. And both get punctuated by these totally random cringy interruptions. Like, one involves a mix-up over a disabled parking spot right in the middle of it.
Oh, no.
And another is disrupted by the loud sobbing of a neighbor nearby, just totally undercutting the moment.
That's peak awkwardness. What else?
There's a scene where he's just completely despairing, sobbing on his bed,
Okay.
and he yells at his digital assistant, "Play a happy song."
Does it work?
Nope, it just doesn't understand him, which is somehow both sad and funny in that dark way.
That blend of pathos and absurdity. Got it.
And then there's one the reviewer highlights that sounds, well, uniquely cringeworthy.
Go on.
A visual of him having sex in the background.
Okay.
But the main audio you hear in the foreground is just his dog loudly licking itself.
Oh my God, that is, wow, that's specific.
Right. Peak black comedy, just like the review says.
And the director, Wenger, leans into this stuff.
Totally. Munoz says his camera delights in the absurdity. It apparently lingers just a bit too long sometimes.
Forcing you to sit with the awkwardness.
Exactly. Like trying to leave a theater performance, but you're blocked by someone on crutches in a really tight row. Just stretching out that discomfort.
It sounds relentless. Even tragic moments have this edge.
Yeah, apparently even a scene where he's fishing his dead dog out of his pool.
Oh, that's grim.
It is. But the review notes the darkly humorous element comes from the sound. It makes this sopping wet thud when the body hits the patio.
Jeez. It's really walking a line there.
It sounds like it. This constant, unsettling mix of sad and uncomfortable.
And holding all this together is the lead actor, Orbrecht Schuch. Mary Munoz seemed impressed.
Very impressed. She calls him an absolute delight.
High praise indeed. What did she like about his performance?
She says he conveys this deep exasperation stemming from disillusionment. You feel his despair.
Palpable, the review said.
Palpable, yeah. But somehow he manages to keep it always somehow darkly humorous.
So he nails that tricky tone. Does he use physical comedy?
She highlights his flair for physical comedy, which sounds essential for pulling off these excruciating situations without it just being depressing.
Right. And what makes it work, according to the review, is his commitment.
Exactly. He plays the full, embarrassing episode entirely straight.
No winking at the camera.
No winks, no nudges. He's just living this absurd, painful reality with complete sincerity.
Which probably makes the audience cringe even harder.
I'd imagine so. And this contrast is crucial to his whole breakdown.
How so?
Well, in his companion jobs, he's great. Polished, articulate, warm, smart, the whole package.
The perfect employee.
Right. And the review notes it gets hard to tell where Matthias ends and the companion begins.
The lines blur.
Completely. And it's this loss of boundaries between the paid roles and his actual self that leads to his unraveling, quite literally, the review suggests.
And the irony Munoz points out is just brutal.
Oh, yeah. His actual breakdown, this genuine moment of crisis.
People think it's performance art.
They misinterpret it as powerful performance art. He's finally being himself, authentically falling apart, and they see it as just another act.
Devastating. And wow, this all feels incredibly relevant now, doesn't it?
It really does. The review explicitly says it in our social media age.
Where everyone's curating their life online.
Exactly. A story about performance, authenticity, identity crisis. It just hits differently now. It resonates.
It makes you think about the performances we all put on, maybe without even realizing it sometimes.
For sure. So the reviewer's overall take.
She says Peacock makes you cringe and laugh in equal measure. Captures it perfectly with that line. You don't know if we should feel sorry for Matthias or be looking away in mutual embarrassment.
That sums up that cringe comedy feeling, yeah.
But despite the discomfort, or maybe because of it, she finds it thoroughly engaging.
Strong recommendation, then.
Seems like it. And just to place it, this review came from the Glasgow Film Festival 2025.
Ah, okay. Part of their Austrian focus.
Right. So wrapping up our deep dive into this review, we've seen how the film uses this unique companion job to really explore identity, performance, these big, chewy themes.
Yeah, and how it uses black comedy and that cringe factor really effectively, along with smart visual and sound design choices.
And all anchored by Orbrecht Schuch's central performance, making Matthias's journey, like darkly funny, but also kind of relatable in its awkwardness.
Definitely. So thinking about Matthias, struggling so hard to find his real self under all those paid-for personas, it really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? How much of our own lives day to day involves putting on some kind of performance?
That's a really good question.
And in a world that so often seems to reward that curated image, that presentation, how do we even know what our own authenticity looks like, or how do we find it?
Wow. Definitely something to mull over. A provocative thought to end on.